there are criminals here, so you have to be careful. Do not let your guard down. Use common sense when outside, even when you're inside. Always practice safety precautions, right? Do not trust everybody. Hola amiguitos, welcome back. All right, so today's video will be about whether or not Merida is actually safe. So Merida is popularly known to be the safest city in all of the Americas, so North, Central, and even South America. And it's ranked as the second safest city after Quebec City, Canada, even though I'm not really sure if that's true or not. So, but at least in Mexico, it is the safest. And is it safe or not? My simple answer to that is yes, Merida is safe. And just from my own personal experience, right? I've been living here now for 3 years and 7 months, thereabout. And I have to say that there isn't much drama, bad news, tragedies that goes on here. Everything is usually quiet. And so that's why sometimes Merida can be confused or misunderstood as being boring because, well, nothing much happens. And for me, as someone who has lived in a number of other cities before coming here, especially Medellin, Colombia, I can definitely say that Merida is safer than Medellin. And just speaking to Mexicans who have moved from their respective cities and states down here to Merida, I can definitely attest to the fact that Merida is much safer. About last weekend, I met a couple who moved down here from, I can't remember where, I think Guanajuato, yes. And I'm a young couple. And they told me that the reason why they moved down here is because in their city, that, you know, people get shot left, right, center. Sometimes people's trucks would get burned. And so they were like, yeah, like time to get out, like right now. And I've also met family, like young family who had to move down here from states as close as Quintana Roo. So they used to live in Playa del Carmen or Tulum or something. Even though the money was good, everything was nice, they had such a good life, but it just wasn't safe. Like every single day you're hearing about somebody getting kidnapped, somebody disappearing, somebody getting found dead somewhere, or just cartel activities, and just like, oh my gosh, like it's just a matter of time, they're gonna get to me next. And so even though like life might be good and it's fun and there's so much, like so many things to do, but really like you're always on the edge. And what's the point of living life if you can't even just calm and just live your life? So the fact that so many Mexicans are moving down here to Merida means that, you know, it is a fact that Merida is safe. The good thing that we have is that, because people might think, okay, but Merida might get too big or Merida might become unsafe. I'm hoping that wouldn't be the case, because now with an influx of immigrants or just people moving down here, the safetiness is unfortunately going down bit by bit. Because people move down here, they become desperate and they go back to their old ways. Maybe even they might have been a reformed criminal, but you know, but just they became desperate and they just had to do desperate things. So we're just hoping that Merida will stay safe. And what's keeping the population not too big is the heat, right? Because you move down here and you're like, well, it's too hot. And so sometimes some people would move to other parts of Mexico. But is Merida safe? The answer is yes. In terms of crime, right? By crime, I mean violent crime. Now, at the same time though, once in a while I will read the news about somebody getting attacked, or a tourist getting attacked somewhere in Centro, or you know, something like that. So these things, they do happen. People getting assaulted, harassed, all these things, they do happen. So Merida isn't free of crimes at all. And we do have petty crimes, break and enter, people getting robbed, people's stuff going missing. So all those things do exist. And I've met, a few people who tell me that, hey, they left their bicycle outside and they traveled. And so by the time they came back, the bike was gone. I'm like, well, was your gate locked? They were like, no, it's not locked. Well, sometimes because Merida is known to be safe, people just relax and they let their guard down, right? So I've met, maybe a couple people who leave their gate. It's closed, but it's not locked. So meaning anybody can just go in and go out of their compound. And when they leave, they forget that. They think, oh, okay, well, I usually don't lock my gate, so I'm just going to leave it unlocked while I'm away for a few days. But what they don't realize is that people are watching, right? So they know, okay, you've been away for a few days, and so they're able to just go in really quickly, steal your bicycle, steal whatever it is that's outside of your premises, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind. Petty crime do exist. Remember that there are people moving down here, and so they need to set up their lives from scratch, and they might have to resort into petty crimes, stealing bicycles, motorbikes, and stuff like that. People also wonder that, okay, well, if Merida is safe, why do people have CCTVs? Why do people have security cameras right outside of their gate? Because again, like I said, break and enter happens. People experience like stuff going missing in their homes, and I've heard of cases whereby somebody will hire a worker to come work in their homes, maybe paint, cut the grass, fix something, and those people, while they are working, they are also doing another job, which is surveilling what you have in your house. So they're looking at, oh, the TV, oh wow, you have this many laptops, you have all these things, and they're keeping notes, they're keeping a mental note. And now sometimes they might come back a few days later on when you've completely forgotten about hiring somebody. They come back, they break into your home and they steal stuff, right? So to prevent that, especially for many Airbnbs, the owners will install a security camera outside of the premises, outside of the gate, so you see who's going out and who's coming in. Sometimes the property might not even be occupied. So I just came back. I went to a particular neighborhood and I noticed that they had security cameras everywhere, and they had like huge signs that says that, hey, this place is under surveillance 24/7. Anybody or any car caught doing something they're not supposed to be doing we're gonna call 911, and we're gonna publish the video on Facebook. Yeah, it says Facebook. I was like, whoa, these guys are serious. So, but it didn't look like somebody was living there, or maybe there's an activity going on inside, because sometimes in many places in Mexico, people build high fences with high gates, so you can't even see what's inside. You might be able to like peek through, like to see what's going on, but you might not be able to see. But on the outside, it didn't look like somebody was living in there, but who knows, there might be some activity going on. And so yeah, they had cameras with the notes like, hey, you're being filmed, you do anything illegal, we're gonna shame you on Facebook, right? It's there. Also, what's also popular here will be fraudsters and scammers. I've actually been a victim of being defrauded. That's a video for another day. What do I mean by this? You hire somebody to come build a pool or to come fix up your bathroom or your kitchen, and you pay them, let's say you pay them 40%, 50% in advance, so they can go use that money to hire workers, buy the materials and stuff like that. And then they disappear. Yeah, they just disappear. Or they might build something and it's a really bad job, really shitty job, and it costs you more. Or they will delay, right? They'll keep making up excuses because they've already spent that money on something else or on a different project. So a project that should have taken 2 months might take you like 8 months, right? I mean, they're gonna do a good job eventually, but it'll just take 6 months longer, right? And apparently some people are leaving Merida because of that, due to incompetent workers. That's what they call them. And you might be thinking, well, why would you hire somebody who you know might defraud you? The thing is that once people see you as a foreigner, it's like their integrity everything goes out the window, right? Because this person might have been referred to you by a neighbor or by a friend, somebody that you trust, right? Because those people, they trusted that person, but now they're looking at you thinking, oh, she has no idea, oh, he has no idea, I'm gonna defraud this person, right? And that's exactly what happened to me. So do not be too trusting. Even if somebody came to you as a referral, or this person, you know, this person is in your network, just do not trust anybody, right? Be a pessimist, do not be an optimist, right? Just think negative all the time, right? And also watch them. Like, you might need to micromanage these people sometimes in order for them to get their job done. Once you guys have built a relationship, so let's say for example, you have to hire somebody who has to come in once a month. At the beginning, yeah, you might have to micromanage them, but once that trust and relationship, once it has been built, then you're able to just let them go. You might even pay them like 100% in advance, knowing that, yeah, this person has integrity, this person will get the job done in the best way possible. So it's not going to be like a case of, this is what I paid for and this is what I got, right? You can definitely reduce that. So in terms of, is Merida safe? Yeah, Merida is significantly safer, because when compared to the neighboring states to our right, meaning in the east, Quintana Roo, you barely hear about cartel activities, even though they happen here, but at a minimal scale. You barely hear about groups of people getting shot, drive-by shooting, people's cars getting burned, just stuff like that. You barely hear stuff like that in the news in Yucatan, right? Or police involved in some questionable activities, right? You rarely hear those things, right? Somebody carrying a gun, somebody carrying a weapon, like just stuff like that that makes you look over your shoulders, right? Those things, they rarely happen in Merida. If they do, it's probably kept at a hush hush. Also, kidnapping. Kidnapping is really big in Mexico. Kidnapping is big, and that's why so many Mexicans are coming here for solace, right? Just looking for that peace and safety, right? So that's why so many Mexicans are moving down here for safety, because it's like, this is a bubble, right? So you will rarely hear about somebody getting kidnapped, maybe somebody going missing, right? But kidnapping and somebody's body getting found somewhere in the whole state of Yucatan, actually, because once you leave Merida, everywhere else is a village and everybody knows each other, right? So crime are much less. Merida is the biggest city in the whole state of Yucatan, which isn't even big to begin with, right? So you rarely hear about kidnapping, shootings, just violent crime, right? That makes you be fearful, right? Because the other day I received an alert on my phone, because I am subscribed to a Mexican news website, and they always send like headlines, right? And a particular traffic police officer was shot dead in his car. I was like, what did a traffic police officer do? Like, he's just a traffic, like, this man only controls traffic. Like, what did he do? So somewhere in Mexico, this man was unalived, right? Very sad. Merida, stuff like that rarely happens. Even though people do complain about the police being corrupt and such, but it's not up to, you know, the same level as elsewhere in the country. Also here, what I've noticed is that I've seen many ladies walk around with their cell phones in their back pocket. In Medellin, that's like a no-no. Like Medellin, you're gonna see many women with their cell phones like in their crotches. Like, it's like in their pants, like right in their pants, like right here, right? And I'm just like, okay. But I guess it's a way to like secure their cell phones. But here in Merida, you're gonna see somebody walking around with their cell phone in their back pocket. It can be easily picked, right? But I guess people here, they don't really touch what doesn't belong to them. And so you have that assurance that, okay, nobody's gonna steal my phone. So for me, it's quite weird. Like, okay, I mean, usually it's better to just keep the phone in your front pocket, right? But yeah, that's one thing that I've noticed here. Also, car theft. The automobile registration in Yucatan, it's very strict. So car theft is less here when compared to other parts of Mexico. Now, I've heard about somebody who told me that somebody broke into his car, right? So they broke the windshield of the car and they took her laptop away. And I'm like, and I mean, that happened in Merida. And I'm just thinking to myself that, well, usually you should know that anything of value, you shouldn't leave it in a car, because then that's going to attract a robber, right, to steal your stuff, right? Even that's something that I learned living in Ontario, Canada. You don't give somebody an excuse to rob you, right? So if you have any valuable, just hide it under your seat or put it in the trunk. Like, you don't want to attract theft. But I guess people, when they move down here to Merida, they think, oh, it's an oasis, nothing happens, it's a bubble, right? But remember, again, people are moving down here from other parts of Mexico, so it's like everybody now, right? So you have to be alert. Also, I have someone who told me that he left his helmet, like his bike helmet, like the motorbike helmet, he left it outside on his motorbike, right? And he went inside to go get something done, and by the time he came out, his helmet was gone. So, and then when I asked him, okay, why would you do that? Why would you leave your helmet just outside on your motorbike? And I was like, well, I thought Merida is safe. I was like, yeah, it's safe, but you have thieves. And like, you just giving somebody an excuse to rob, to steal your helmet, right? So again, like, it's safer, but it's not 100% free of crime, right? So it's one thing to keep in mind. And one thing I wanted to mention here is that even though I mentioned that Merida, even Yucatan in general, is very safe, but the thing is, there are so many other things happening in the background, happening every single day. And here in Mexico, feminicide is a big thing, right? So that's a gender-based violence, right? It happens. And Yucatan, unfortunately, is not exempt from that, right? So feminicide, even though I didn't mention that, it's very rare to hear about somebody getting kidnapped, somebody getting shot, somebody getting killed, stuff like that. But gender-based violence is a thing. And here in Yucatan, people say that the men are machistic, and so sometimes they express their aggression on their women. And as a matter of fact, during the pandemic, they had a really strict ley seca, a dry law, for several weeks, several months, no alcohol. And I heard that the reason for that is because the men will get drunk and they will beat on their wives, right? And to eliminate that, they were like, no alcohol for anybody, female, male, no alcohol, right? So gender-based violence is a thing here, even though, yeah, so crime is very safe, but some of these crimes are happening within family, within households, in, like secret, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind, right? Feminicide, it is still unfortunately happening here in the state of Yucatan. Okay, so before I go, I wanted to share something really quickly. So on my street here, just a few blocks down the road, for the past 3 years that I've been living here, there is a particular house that has 24/7 police security outside at all times. Daytime, nighttime, there's always a police car parked right in front of that house. I've never seen anybody go in. I've never seen anybody come out. As a matter of fact, that house looks abandoned, right? And one time I had to go because I'm curious. I had to go, and then I asked the police officer, like, hey, what's going on here? Because initially I thought maybe something fishy was going on, back there. And he told me that the family requested for security, right? For private security. And I'm thinking to myself, like, so who's paying for this? Like, are these people politicians? I mean, the house looks normal. It's not like a huge mansion or anything. Are these people like related to a particular politician? Can they move? I'm like, if you are actually afraid of your life, you feel like your life is in danger, why don't you move? But then I guess if they move, then they risk somebody coming after them wherever they move to. So, but the thing is, I've never seen anybody come out. I've never seen anybody go in. Of course, it's a few blocks down from me. It's not like across the street from me whereby I can see stuff happening all the time. But yeah, there's always a police presence at all times in the day, morning time, night time. So that shows you that Merida isn't 100% free of crime. There are things happening here. There are things happening in the state. There are things happening in the city. So do not let your guard down. Don't be like, oh, Merida is safe. I trust everybody. Remember, like, there are people from all over, right? Because usually, like, for example, south of Merida we have is a city called 𝒂𝒂, and 𝒂𝒂 is meant to be very dangerous. And when you ask the locals there, they tell you, well, actually the crimes are being committed by people outside. I'm not really sure if that's true. It's like mostly from outsiders or people also from the city. Yeah, but that's up to the law to determine. But to wrap everything up, I'm gonna advise you to not let your guard down. So if you're gonna be inviting people over to your house, make sure that the bedrooms are locked, your valuables are put away, because again, you don't wanna tempt somebody to committing a crime. You don't wanna attract, right, that unwanted attention, right? Luckily, the good thing here in Merida is that, you know, you can be driving in your expensive car with your jewelry and stuff. You don't have to worry about somebody snatching your earrings or your wristwatch, or you can be on your phone. You don't have to worry about somebody driving past on a motorcycle snatching your cell phone. You can be out, you know, with your camera, something. You don't have to worry about somebody, you know, driving and snatching it. Well, at least right now in 2024, and I hope it stays that way. So you can actually walk daytime, nighttime without having to look over your shoulders all the time, without being fearful of your life. So there was one night I was walking in my neighborhood. It was like 8 p.m., so it was already dark. I was walking on the sidewalk. There was a man walking towards me, and then immediately, like, I have to be on alert to whoo, because again, unfortunately, as a woman, that's how you were raised, right? To be afraid of a man, especially when you're alone. And then I had to calm down, because I was like, oh, actually, you're in Merida, it's safe here. And then I felt a bit safer, and then I just walked past him, said buenas noches, what have you. But in some other parts of the world, like Brazil, I was in Brazil a few years ago, I would have actually ran the other way, because it's like, oh my gosh. So in some parts of the world, it's like I would have been scared for my life. Even though it was like 8 p.m., I was in my neighborhood. I think I had to go to the pharmacy or something and such, right? So yeah, and then I also wanted to mention this as well. So even though Merida is safe, you're gonna have people who have dogs as their 24/7 security, right? And the dogs are always outside. Unfortunately, I feel bad for these dogs, because sometimes it's hot out, but these dogs have to stay outside. Sometimes the dogs are on rooftops. So people will buy dogs as a security measure, not so much for pets, right? And so they'll put the dogs at the front, at the back, sometimes on the rooftop. So one property might have 3 dogs. Like, making sure, you know, to keep the property safe, because again, Merida isn't an oasis. Some thefts are still going on. You have breaking and enter, so you know, you have to be careful about all these things. All right, so sadly I have allergies again. I think that's gonna be a video for next time, but yeah, so I have to cut the video short here. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to talk about when it comes to crime and safety in Merida. Is Merida safe? Yes, it is safer, but at the same time, it is not 100% free of crime. There are criminals here, so you have to be careful. Do not let your guard down. Use common sense when outside, even when you're inside. Always practice safety precautions, right? Do not trust everybody. Even if that person was referred to you by a trusted friend, even if this person is a trusted friend, do not trust anybody. Always have your guard up. And then once those people have earned your trust, then you can bring it down a little bit, but still use common sense, especially as a foreigner, because even Mexicans are getting duped left, right, center. And so if these people have their guards up, you need your guard to be much higher than theirs. All right, if you have any other question, any tips, anything you want to add to this video, leave it in the comment section below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? just click that subscribe button. It is completely free of charge. Completely free of charge. And yeah, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao.